Hello, wonderful people. So today I'm back on the Akai Force public beta firmware 3.5, and this is a bug report that I found with the looper recording and exporting to an audio track. So let's get started. At the beginning, I have a drum rack, and it's playing back a kick snare pattern, an old school, like, 80s drum break, right? About as simple as it gets. I'm going to go into the looper and record that into a 4-bar loop. Have it set to sample, resample, stereo. I've stopped the clip. Now we're listening only to the looper, right? So now we can export that to a track. We have a perfect loop. It sounds good out of the looper. Let's export that to audio 1. We have the clip here. I'm going to clear the audio there. We no longer need that in the looper. So let's go into the audio. We have, or into the audio track. In this clip, if we push play, we get that little blip at the very beginning. Blip. It's like there's a second kick or something that's happening at the same time. It's like the audio has been dragged in a weird way. And the reason for that is the algorithm is enabled and there's a bit of extra sample added to the sample, and I'll show you that. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this 3 times. I'll go back to the first one so that's the one I'm going to be targeting when I come back. So I'm going to go to the sample edit. I'm going to process this because I need 2 copies of it. I need to show you why it's the algorithm, right? So I'm going to go and make a copy. We have new looper sample and new looper sample 1. They're identical. And at the very beginning of new looper sample 1 and new looper sample, there's this little bit of audio. And what I'm going to do is process, discard, get rid of everything outside of the start and end points. We have a perfect loop now. We go back to the clip here, right? So if we go into the clip, we go into the grid, we can browse for a sample, which usually you can't browse for a sample. Now, if I click that loop, you can no longer browse for the sample and it'll be stuck in that whatever's in memory, because the sample is not the sample that we just edited. It's purely in memory, right? So if we browse for that sample, we open new looper sample, which ostensibly is already there, and we play back. We have now the algorithms and the editing, and it plays back properly. In the second one, it doesn't play back properly. So if we go browse the samples and we get the second one and we open that one, we have everything enabled here now. If we disable warp, it'll play back. It still has that little extra bit of sample, so it's not going to perfectly line up, and you may have some phasing in your kicks at the very beginning of that loop, which is not ideal. So I guess the main problem is that when you export out of the loops, when you go into the grid, everything's disabled immediately. The only way you can enable it is if you click the thing, and if you click the sample, it locks that memory, the sample that's in memory, into the clip, but that sample that's in memory is damaged. It's got that extra little bit, and the Pro10 algorithm does not detect it properly. The other thing is if we do enable warp and we put it on repitch, it plays back fine. If we put it on the basic, it's not fine. If we put it on their Pro algorithm, it's even worse, right? So if we go here, I want to show you how this is. Say for instance, we just exported that loop and we're in slot 3. This is what it's going to look like. If you then touch the loop, then it enables the warp and everything. But like I said at the very beginning, there's that little bit of the sample that's incorrect. So phasing issues and all that. And so in order to fix the problem truly, you have to edit the sample and get rid of that little bit of sample that's at the beginning, which I don't know why is there in the first place. It wasn't there in the original recording. The second problem that I have is, like, out of the looper, why is it not possible to name the sample? And the reason for that is when I have some of my projects open, some of them have, hundreds of samples in them, like 300 or more, right? So when I go to look for new loop or sample, it's somewhere at the bottom of this massive list. It would be way easier if I could call it, one my stupid loop, or A1 loop, or something like that, that would be at the top of the list, that would be easy to find when I went to go edit this. If we have to edit these files anyway, because there's that little bit of audio that's added arbitrarily, why is it that we can't, out of the looper, target a sample in the audio pool and just give it a name so that we can edit it properly and then add it to the audio track later? I guess that would be a feature request, but it still seems very buggy to have to do it this way. Anyway, I hope you're making as much music as you possibly can, and may the force be with you.